D. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is the Farsi Show presented by MyBookie, MyBookie.ag. It's wonderful to have you along for the ride. Oh, my goodness gracious. Well, they never really don't give you anything to talk about, I'll tell you that much. It looked like that first half was going to be the game we had been waiting for. We have watched the Philadelphia Eagles for now 4 games, going into this one, 3. And we had yet to see them play a complete game. You know, that famous thing. We got to play 4 quarters. We got to play 4 quarters of football. Yeah, I would have loved to see the 4 quarters of football. We got 2. We got 2 quarters of complete football. Offense, defense, special teams, just kicking ass against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa. Now, I said going into this game that it's going to be a tough one. I had him 31-24 was my prediction for this game. And I know that was close, but that's not the point. The point is that I expected them to win. I expected it to be a hard-fought game. They won. It was a very much hard-fought game. But when you see the amazing play of Jalen Hurts, this entire offense, in that first half, and then that literally goes away to the point of 0 completions, 0 passing yards, obviously, by your quarterback and your offense, because I do think this is a mixed bag, but it is horrifying to just think all of a sudden it could just go away. I mean, it's so amazing to me. You look at a team like the Phillies, for instance, sharp left turn, but stay with me. It's like one of the things that scares us about the Phillies is that their offense is just going to go dead silent. They're going to go ice cold. They're going to, hit a bunch of home runs in a game, score 11 runs. And then the next game, shutout. 1 run. Like that kind of thing. And I know that the other teams paid too and all that. But when you're dominating the way the Philadelphia Eagles were, and all of a sudden you just see that offense go stagnant, 5 for 7 of your possessions in the second half. 5 for 7, not including the intentional safety to close out the game. 5 of your 7 possessions were 3 and outs. That's atrocious. That's almost exactly like the first half against the Rams, where 4 of your 5 possessions were 3 and outs. How it could just all of a sudden all go bad is, well, there's some good news in that. The good news is that it's just not one problem. It's not like, oh, Jalen Hurts sucks. He's the problem. Or Kevin Patullo's terrible. He's the problem. It's that you don't have that kind of group effort of terrible without the group being bad. The offensive line has left a lot to be desired in total this season. Jalen Hurts in that second half was not good, and I do have a theory as to why that happened. And yes, I would love to see more of that creativity that I saw from Kevin Patullo in the first half. I'd like to see that in the second half. So, and when I say creativity, I mean, I haven't seen a shovel pass in a very long time in a Philadelphia Eagles offense. I actually remember that specifically. I associate that with Andy Reid, because I remember Andy Reid here in Philadelphia was always ripped for not being creative. And then he goes to Kansas City, and all of a sudden, I'm like, a shovel pass in an Andy Reid offense? A shovel pass out of a pistol? What is happening? Andy Reid's not supposed to be that great. Look, I'm not saying shovel passes are a guideline for creativity in football, but I am saying when you don't ever see them and all of a sudden you see them, you go, oh, look at who's opening a new book of play calling. I like it. Also, out of the tush push, we've seen different plays now. Saquon Barkley in the second half had that touchdown where he ran to the outside on a little tush push sweep, if you want to call it that. But I loved seeing that. They have run different things out of the tush push before that definitely makes other people, we got to make sure that's on our radar next time we're playing the Eagles. But I love that they did it. I love that they used it. They needed it certainly in that second half to get points on the board, which was nice. But it was a struggle-filled offense in that second half. Why all of a sudden? Todd Bowles, very good defensive coordinator. He certainly knows what he's doing. For a very good defensive mind, he certainly knows what he's doing. He's going to make the adjustments to the adjustment and all that. Did Kevin Patullo get out schemed in that? He certainly looked like it. But the other part of it is my little theory to go back to it is after that incredible first half where Jalen Hurts had 1 incompletion, like 15 of 16 throwing the football. There were a couple of bad decisions I thought Jalen made in the first half, but it's going to happen with any quarterback. The one in particular was the one where he just left Saquon out to dry in the flat when he should have just sailed it over his head out of bounds. So lived to fight another down, essentially. And there were a couple of other ones that just like, that was interesting. Like, I don't like that one, Jalen, that kind of thing in the first half. But I mean, that's the flow of the game. Things are going to happen like that. But when all of a sudden things go stagnant the way they did in the second half, that's more of the concern. Number one thing with Jalen in that second half, they come out, first off, this goes more to Kevin Patullo than anything else, and the offensive line. First thing that happened was they run the ball twice with a sack in between. So they run with Barkley, he gets stuffed. Jalen gets sacked for a 9-yard loss. This is coming out of half. And then A.J. Dillon goes for a small gain. 3 and out. First 3 and out of the second half. Then the Eagles get the ball back. And Jalen Hurts on the first play scrambles to his left, gets tackled. His head clearly hits the ground. And immediately it reminded me of last year against Washington. And I think it was Louisville that came up with this play and tackled Jalen Hurts as he was already going down. Now, in this case, Jalen wasn't sliding last year against the Commanders. He was still diving, trying to get the extra yard there. He gets brought down. Louisville lands on top of him. Well, hits him late, I believe. And then Jalen Hurts' head hits the turf. And that's when he left the game. 11 snaps into it. This play, it was similar, except he was going in for the slide. They originally threw the flag for the late hit on the quarterback and targeting, but they said, oh, he led with his shoulder. He's okay. But Jalen's head hits the turf. He gets up with the assistance of some of his teammates and just, I mean, you could see that he's like kind of looking at the ground and he's kind of out of it and all that. And he did not complete a pass after that moment. You can't tell me that had nothing to do with it. Now, you listen to him in the press conference. He sounded fine. But in that moment, first off, I was shocked that he wasn't taken out of the game for evaluation, seeing that his head hit the turf. There was a play last night, I believe it was, in the Cowboys game, and I forget who it was for the Cowboys. By the way, that game ended in a tie, in case you didn't watch it, with the Packers. But they took him out of the game just to get him evaluated. I'm like, where was that for Jalen Hurts? Where was that for him? Now, look, in this day and age in the NFL, I thought anything where you have contact to the head and a guy gets up a little woozy, you got to get checked out. Apparently that didn't apply with Jalen Hurts yesterday. And I think partially because of that, you had a lot of issues with Jalen Hurts in that second half. And the biggest problem that I thought was the most telling as far as Jalen Hurts struggling in that second half had to do with the 3 forced attempts to A.J. Brown. Eagles are leading at this point. You just saw the 58-yard field goal by McLaughlin there for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who had a 65-yarder and a 58-yarder to help them keep them in the ball game. But it's a 31-23 game in favor of the Eagles, obviously. And the Eagles get the ball back at the 12-16 mark of the fourth quarter. And this was just mind-numbing. Jalen Hurts throws to A.J. Brown, misses him. Jalen Hurts throws to A.J. Brown, throws it at his feet. Double cover. I think this was actually the double. No. Throws it at his feet. Third down. This was the one that was awful. He's got Jahan Dotson watching the game to his left, top of your screen. The corner in this situation is 10 yards off. Instead of hitting that pass to Dotson and trying to get the first down there, he fires into A.J. Brown. Now, this was one occasion. Excuse me. That was a 4th and 10. Excuse me. Then on the next possession, so you're forcing it to A.J. Brown. Then on the very next possession, you're seeing another situation there where he forces it into A.J. Brown on a 3rd and 2. This is another one where Dotson's top of your screen. Jalen Hurts is left. 7:48 remaining in the game. This is just after the interception by Jahad Campbell. And you have another 3 and out here. And this is that 3rd and 2. Jahan Dotson open top of the screen. Another big cushion there with the defensive back. And Jalen doesn't even look his way. Instead, zeroes in on A.J. Brown. And this has got nothing to do with Kevin Patullo here. This is definitely Jalen Hurts in this situation. And for anyone that, let me just say this. I feel like you always have to have a disclaimer nowadays. I love Jalen Hurts. I think there's one quarterback in the NFL I'd take over Jalen Hurts. That guy's name's Patrick Mahomes. But I love Jalen Hurts. Okay. I want him to be here for a very long time. And I have said many, many times over that this is the quarterback we've waited a long time for in Philadelphia. But on this particular play, in this particular half, really, there's a lot that Jalen did wrong. And not all of it is Kevin Patullo's fault. Not all of it is the offensive line's fault. There are things, and I'm speaking specifically about what Jalen did wrong. This throw is the wrong throw to make. Jalen has A.J. Brown, double coverage, two yards to gain, and there's no play. There's no chance A.J. Brown can make a play. And even A.J. Brown in this situation looked like Droopy the dog. Like, why would you even try me in this situation? I'm covered, man. Not always open on this one, unfortunately. But he's got Dotson open to his left, and he's got to be able to recognize. Now, here's the giveaway. Now, you could say, all right, you got one read to make. You know the blitz is coming, all that. You're going to go to A.J. Brown. That's fine. But one of the things that I always praise Jalen Hurts for is his pre-snap read. Phenomenal with his pre-snap read. Pre-snap read, easy. 10-yard cushion to your left on Jahan Dotson on a 3rd and 2. That's an automatic first. They're giving you a first down in that situation. And instead, you got the incompletion there. I don't think that Jalen Hurts is all of a sudden some terrible quarterback. But I mean, no, absolutely not. Still, there's one quarterback I'd take in the NFL over him, and that guy's name is Patrick Mahomes. But this was not the best we saw from Jalen Hurts. And this was also after something that I found to be very curious as to why he wasn't evaluated, why the flag was picked up, because your quarterback was going into a slide, regardless of if you're leading with the helmet or the shoulder. I thought that today's NFL was supposed to really be calling those things tight. I guess not with Jalen Hurts, and I do think that factored into his struggles in the second half. As the game went on, though, I found myself going back to that first half thinking about what was working so well. And I mean, Jalen Hurts was incredible. That's the other thing that makes me think about this particular play. You mean, like, I got all the respect in the world for Todd Bowles, but for him to stymie this offense that bad in the second half versus the first half, no, I think it had to be something else. Because this offense was incredible in that. For Jalen Hurts was incredible in that first half. Yeah, I mentioned a couple of, misplays, plays I'm sure you'd like to have back, decisions. Like, for instance, people will bring up, he had one incompletion. Yeah, that's great. Good for him. But I'd rather have 2 incompletions on a situation that I rolled out earlier where you have Saquon Barkley well behind the line of scrimmage. You're getting pressured, and instead of just throwing it over his head so you don't take the loss, you throw it to him in a situation where he can't do anything with it. I'd rather have 2 incompletions in that moment. But there's little things like that throughout the first half. It was like, okay, that's fine. You're still balling. You're still getting it done. It's not that big a deal. And then when you see it just completely fall off the rails in the second half, that's what makes you a little concerned. Overall, though, I got to say, I'm not taking a win in Tampa Bay lightly at all. I said going into this game that you can look at 2 games on this schedule that were definitely huge measuring stick games for what the Eagles have done in the past. One was obviously the Kansas City Chiefs. You want to face them again. You want to beat them again after beating them in the Super Bowl. The other is this game against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Because the Buccaneers, to me, they represent a team that's just always going to give you problems and always has given you problems. Now, the Eagles went down there 2 years ago in the year of the epic collapse, and they won 25-11. They looked good pretty much throughout that game. But this was one where I know they were battling heat. I know some people were asking about that as to whether or not that led to the Eagles offense just being, gassed maybe in the second half, whether the defense looked gassed in the second half and all that. But for me, this game was another measuring stick game. Now, the Buccaneers, again, are a team for me that represent, no matter how good you might be, no matter how great you might be. Like, picture it like this. If you grew up with a sibling rivalry and all that stuff, and your older sibling, if you're a younger sibling, right, and your older brother, your older sister, just really, you playing sports, you're competitive, and they're just beating you and you're beating. And then you go and you play in your league, and they're dominating. You're incredible. In the back of your mind, you're still thinking, I still got to beat my brother. I still got to beat my sister. I still got to beat that person that's got my number. And then you go and you play them, and then they beat you, and you're like, damn it. And then you go back to the drawing board, and you dominate again. You win a Super Bowl. You come back. It's like, all right, can I beat this? Can I beat this guy now? That's what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers represent to me. A team that you can measure yourself against to see how far you've really come. Now, all the accolades and all the accomplishments, like winning a Super Bowl, that's great. But in the back of your mind, still got to beat the Bucs. And Jordan Mailata talked about that after the game, and I thought he had a great perspective overall in the game.
Games down in Tampa is a big deal because we haven't won games. We've been humiliated. We've been on that side of the ball, and so this is a plus for me. Now, we're not in the business to get better. Don't get me wrong. We're going to watch that film. We're going to see why we're one block away. If it's an error in communication, if it's a breakdown in detail in coaching, or if it's a technique and execution problem. Those are things we can fix because of the people we have in the room and in the locker room. But, yeah, we're not going to beat ourselves. Man, this is a great win. This is a great win. Man, hell of a play by our special teams, kick off the day, and then our defense. Sucks that we have to rely on them, but it's a team game, is it not? It's a team game.
It is. But I honestly, if I'm a member of the Eagles, if I'm a player on that team, we got this huge monkey off our back is what we got. We got this huge Tampa Bay Buccaneer monkey off our back. That's got to be a phenomenal feeling. Look, nothing will ever in a million years come close to winning a Super Bowl. I'm not comparing the two. But in the back of your mind, you're always thinking that one guy's got my number. For whatever it is, he gets that lucky punch, whatever. And it wasn't like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It wasn't like Baker Mayfield was doing all he could in a game where he's missing his best weapon, obviously, in Mike Evans. There are plays that he made. I don't know. That Ibuka 77-yard reception. I'm getting my 70-plus receptions confused in this one, maybe. So a little grace, please. 77 yards to Ibuka between an outstretched Reed Blankenship and a late reacting Drew Makuba. Now, I'll take Seth Joyner's word on this over mine. And then looking at the high end zone cam, it definitely looked like Makuba was late to Ibuka. That's fun to say. But it was two interceptions that should have happened on that play. One definite interception that should have had in that play. And instead, Baker Mayfield bought time, rolled quickly to his right, by the way, kept his eyes downfield, saw Ibuka behind the defense, and aired it out to him. And the definition of threading the needle between two defenders perfectly dropped it in the hip pocket of his rookie wide receiver who took it in 77 yards for the touchdown. Okay, stuff's going to happen. That wasn't great. That was bad. Not enjoyable. Not going to happen again, right? Oh. Eagles get a great pass rush, but they can't contain Baker Mayfield. He's able to buy more time. I think it was 6 seconds. Asking any linebacker, even one as young, athletic, agile, fast as Jahad Campbell, to cover Bucky Irving, that's a long time to cover that guy. And Baker Mayfield, again, put it exactly where it needed to be, and then they had a 72-yard reception for a touchdown. These are 14 points just like that. Bing, bang, boom. That wasn't fun. But you were able to rest on the idea that your offense was cooking. You were able, at that point, you were able to rest on the idea that your special teams had been balling out. I'm shocked that they got a 65-yard field goal with that, granted the trajectory, what that's going to look like over this special teams line there and your field goal block. But they did it. And I know Jahad Campbell got beat on that play, but I thought Jahad Campbell had a phenomenal game. He didn't get credit for the forced fumble by Irving, but I think it was Jalix Hunt wrapping up Irving. Then Jahad Campbell came in, and he was in on the play, and then Irving fumbled the football. Eagles were able to pick that up, and then Jahad Campbell also had the interception. You had Jalen Carter on that interception for Jahad Campbell, pressuring Baker Mayfield, getting him to roll to his right, and I think made a panic throw and right into the gut of Jahad Campbell. Right place, right time. Way to go, young fella. I thought he had a just an awesome game. It's going to be, I'm curious to see, Nakobe Dean can come back. I believe it's this week. I'm curious to see how they use him, if they use him this week. But Jahad Campbell, you got to keep in mind, like as well as he's playing, he is very versatile. I wouldn't be surprised if they have almost a ramp-up period with Nakobe Dean just to keep him sharp. And then also get him sharpen him. That's what I should say. But I've just been very much impressed by Jahad Campbell, and I don't think the Eagles are hankering to make a move. I don't think that they have an itchy trigger finger to try to make a move here. I think they're going to give him time, and I think they're also going to give Nakobe Dean, at least under the guise of giving Nakobe Dean time to really get back into it. So I'm curious to see how that all plays out, but it'd be hard to think of paying the startup cost through the first 4 weeks of the season that you're paying with Jahad Campbell with little things like little. I know it led to a huge touchdown, but I don't expect many linebackers to stick with Bucky Irving for about 6 seconds in coverage. I don't expect that to happen. The other thing is there anybody else deep on the field trying to make a play there? No? Okay. Overall, my general feeling about this game is it's a tough game against the Bucs. Yes, they had tough conditions, and this isn't to make excuses. This is to acknowledge what they just did. A team that has had their number, a defensive-minded head coach that has certainly figured out the Eagles' offense over the years, and they still came out on top. That's how I feel about the game. Here's how Jalen Hurts felt about the game.
I think it was a great team win. Another gritty win, coming in and finding a way to win. We know this has been a challenging environment to play in and a really good opponent for us over the years. And I'm just proud of the way that we competed. Didn't quit, found a way, played very well situationally to an extent. Obviously a lot that we can improve from, but it's always good to get a win out here, and they don't come easy. And so we had to go out there and earn it, and we did.
I legit take nothing away from what the Eagles were able to do. I don't take anything away from it. They won a hard-fought game. It wasn't perfect, but I do constantly go back in my mind to a team like the Kansas City Chiefs last year, who just eked out wins throughout the entire season and barely controlled wins and all that. And then their day of reckoning came in the Super Bowl when the Eagles just spanked them. Then I also go back to our own problems in the city of Philadelphia with the Philadelphia Eagles team from 2 years ago. That was 10-1, 10-3, and then 1-6 in their last 7 games. That was very similar. Their day of reckoning was coming. And so far this year, though 4-0, is their day of reckoning coming? Or is this, as we talk about with young players, was this the startup cost? These 4 games. Is that the startup costs to what's going to be a phenomenal season? Yeah, are they going to blow out the Denver Broncos? I hope so. That'd make us all feel a lot better. Are you going to give us 4 quarters against the Denver Broncos? I hope so. And then that's just one thing that does loom over your head. Now, the other thing is A.J. Brown. I've said many times that I love A.J. Brown. I don't go diva on him. I never have. The only thing he's ever done that I think the public loves, but I didn't. I don't like anybody doing anything on the sidelines that's not football. And reading a book on a cell phone, whatever. If it's not football, no thanks. I want to just see you concentrating on football. So I was the one person that didn't like the book, but the other person that also was maybe the only person to defend A.J. Brown in a lot of other situations. He has not helped himself this year. He's coming off a 100-plus yard game. This game, obviously, again, passing game struggled in that second half. But he doesn't do himself favors by saying, I'm not going to answer that because then I'll give you a story. Like that, dude, just don't answer it. Or just give me something generic. For the good of the team, give me something generic. And then after this game, he doesn't talk to the media. And he puts out there on social media, if you're not welcomed, not listened to, quietly withdraw. Don't make a scene, shrug your shoulders, and be on your way. That's what he quoted and put out there after the game. Then he also put out there, I love y'all with all my heart. Didn't talk to the media, did post on social media, and seen. That's where we're at with A.J. Brown. This is what makes people that don't like A.J. Brown or people that are frothing at the mouth to get him to say something stupid. This is where they go, oh, he's going to blow soon. He's going to blow up. Oh, he's going to throw this whole team under the bus. And Jalen sucks. Kevin Patullo's an idiot. Nick Sirianni's the luckiest SOB on the planet. This gives those people fuel. Look, at 4-0, think about this. All the mistakes the Eagles have made, and they're so good, they still win these games. They have not played 4 quarters of football. Your defense has. I'll give them that. I'll acknowledge that. Excuse me. I hate when people say, I'll give you that. I acknowledge that. The defense has played 4 quarters, but as a team, they have not played 4 quarters of football. I don't even need 4 full quarters. Give me 3.5, where in the second part of the fourth quarter, you're just running the football. You're killing clock. Will Shipley has 5 carries, But the A.J. Brown handling this in the way that does not help anything. I've defended him in the past when it comes to, hey, I got nothing nice to say, so I'm not going to say it at all. But seeing him walk off the field after the win, seeing Devontae Smith walk off the field after the win, it ain't comforting, unfortunately. Let's get into the chat check. Sean Rain, hello. April, hello. Oh, wait. I knew there was one more thing. Excuse me. Jalen Hurts on the first half or second half. What wasn't working in the second half?
Well, it's just about execution. It's just no different than what I've said on a Wednesday talking to you guys. It comes down to execution, and got to execute at a high level and continue to learn as things go on.
And execution was what was blamed. Didn't execute. So there you go. Take that for what you will. I agree. I don't think they executed. Sean Kilrain, hello. April, hello. Barkley, so far this season, 77 carries, 237 yards. Yeah, that's not good. Cousin, good morning. Explain this to me. Vita Vea does the ice in his veins taunting 2 times. Cooper DeJean does the AI and gets taunting penalty. Do better, Zebras. What a joke. I agree. You can't do anything. In an extremely intense game, they want these guys to be like mild-mannered after they make a play. Okay. Sean Gillespie, hello. Oh, cousin, thinking the same thing on Jalen Hurts' head hitting the turf. April said the same thing about Hurts' head bounced hard. I agree. AJ isn't halfway through his 4th. Please don't ruin this. Oh, Zizo Jalari, a healthy scratch despite Nolan Smith on IR. Is he really that bad for it? Sean Kilran had the same thought. I thought he was definitely going to be activated. I said to Gunnar and Seth before we were just starting the show, inactives has come out for pregame, and I look at it and go, oh, Zizo Jalari is out again? He must suck. Not going to lie, Farzi, I'm so ready to fire Patullo. He's got the offense looking like a joke. Has a quarterback looking funny. Fire his ass tomorrow morning. I don't think this is unfortunately a bigger problem than Kevin Patullo. MetLife Stadium, a new Veterans Stadium, just asked neighbors. Yeah, wow. Gatekeeper, if the Eagles don't care about A.J. Brown, why should he care about them? Interesting. Mr. Tab, these taunting rules are a joke. I concur. Folks, unfortunately, I have to get running. I will be back with you guys tomorrow. Phillies are in the playoffs. I'm very excited about that. Well, of course they're in the playoffs. But they get the first round bye. Reds, Dodgers. I say just bring on the Dodgers. Let's just make that happen. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Fox 29 hit today for more of me. See you guys then. Later today, Locked On 76ers. Have a great day, guys.